This is VOA News. I'm Marissa Melton. As a group of U.S. nationals is escorted safely out of Sudan, some people are going back to the capital city, despite new bursts of gunfire and heavy artillery. AP correspondent Karen Chammus reports.
As the battle for power between Sudan's two top generals continues, over 400 civilians have died so far, with thousands more displaced. However, despite the huge numbers trying to get out, there are some who are making their way back to the war-torn country on a ship from Saudi Arabia to Sudan, so they can be with their families. Ashraf Ahmed, travelling to Sudan, lost his mother, sister and daughter in the fighting. Holding back the tears, he told a reporter,
"I have been one of the losers of this war."
In Khartoum, clashes continued around the presidential palace, the headquarters of the state broadcaster and a military base. The battles sent thick columns of black smoke billowing over the city skyline. I'm Karen Chammus.
Dozens of buses were seen lining up on the Egypt-Sudan border crossing as the waiting times increased with the rising influx of Sudanese fleeing the fighting. Satellite images on Friday showed congestions of trucks and buses lining up in different directions as they prepared to cross the border. Since the fighting broke out between the Rapid Support Forces and the Sudanese Armed Forces on April 15th, thousands of Sudanese have fled to neighboring countries, including Egypt, Ethiopia, Chad, and South Sudan. Police in Cleveland, Texas, said Saturday that a gunman shot dead five neighbors, including an 8-year-old child, after some of them asked him to stop shooting a semi-automatic rifle in his front yard. The local sheriff, Greg Caper, said police are still looking for the suspect. He's been charged with 5 counts of murder. Police were looking for him in a nearby wooded area. The sheriff said 10 people were in the house when the gunman started shooting. 5 survived. VOA News. Rescue operations have been completed in the city of Uman in Ukraine after a massive Russian missile strike early Friday hit a residential building, killing 23 people, including 6 children. The Ukrainian Interior Minister said rescue teams recovered 22 bodies from under the rubble, while one victim died later in the hospital. In Dnipro, airstrikes killed a 2-year-old and her mother. The British Defense Ministry said Saturday that cruise missile strikes that Russia launched on Friday against Ukraine suggest what it called a departure in Russia's use of long-range strikes. The U.S. Army has grounded all of its non-critical flight missions until pilots can receive new training. AP correspondent Jackie Quinn.
This safety stand-down comes in the wake of Thursday's deadly mid-air collision between 2 Army Apache helicopters returning from a training mission over Alaska. There was also a crash last month in Kentucky that killed 9 soldiers. All aviation units are ordered to review the maintenance of their aircraft, pilot training, and safety precautions. An Army spokesman says the suspension of air operations is effective immediately. Active duty units will undergo new training the first week of May, while reserve units will have until May 31st. I'm Jackie Quinn.
There's growing frustration over the wait for the settlement with the company that made OxyContin, one of the drugs blamed for the opioid crisis in the United States. AP's Julie Walker has more.
More than a year after the maker of the drug reached a tentative settlement over the toll of opioids, the money isn't flowing yet. That's because a federal court is still considering whether it's lawful to give members of the Sackler family who own Purdue Pharma protection from civil lawsuits in exchange for their contribution to the settlement, which is the company itself, and up to $6 billion in cash. A federal appeals court heard arguments on the matter a year ago, but has not issued a ruling. Lawyers on multiple sides of the case have asked the court to issue an opinion or at least a timeline. I'm Julie Walker.
A former U.S. National Security Advisor has called for deeper interaction between his country and Taiwan during a visit to the self-ruled island, which has seen increasing military threats from China. John Bolton, a potential Republican presidential candidate in 2024 and a former member of the Trump administration, said at a pro-Taiwan independence event on Saturday that national security teams from both sides must develop contingency plans on how to respond to actions Beijing might take. He warned once an attack occurs, it would be too late. More on this and all the stories we're covering is available at our website, voanews.com. From Washington, I'm Marissa Melton, VOA News.
Thank you for watching. Can you do me a favor? Please leave a comment in the comment section below. That would really help. Thank you, and see you again soon.